to the LEC, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by XL's newest recruit, Abbedagge. Now, Abbedagge, thank you so much for joining me, because you have been in America for the last year and a half, so it's lovely to have you back. How does it feel to be in the LEC again?
It's very exciting to be back. I kind of realized in the time that I have been away that I miss playing here, and it's not really expected, but it's a nice opportunity to be coming back and proving myself, proving that I still belong here.
What was your reaction when you got the call from XL?
It was a bit nerve-wracking, because I didn't have any practice with the team. I only knew they're struggling right now and they're looking for a new fit, a new environment. I thought of it as an opportunity, but at the same time, I was a bit nervous that I come in and things might be hard. But from the last, I've had 3 days to prepare with them now, and I can't really say that we are struggling. It's been a pretty good practice week, and we are looking forward to show what we can do this weekend.
Does it help at all that you're reunited with some of your Schalke 2020 Miracle Run crew in manager Mer and Odoamne?
Yeah, it definitely feels very familiar in a way, but then it's also in a new environment with the rest of the staff and my teammates being new. But I also have a bit of experience with Limit, because I actually met him in 2021 Spring Split when he joined Schalke, and so I was already pretty close to him, and it felt very natural, like a natural fit to come into this team. Very easy environment for me to fit in.
So now you've had 3 days of practice with the team. What do you think you need to do in terms of how you fit within the roster?
I don't think I need to do anything crazy. I just need to do my job.
But what do you think your job should be in terms of as a mid laner? How should you be playing the role?
I mean, my job is to... There's very different jobs that the mid laner can do, but I think for me, they're just looking for a stable piece in the mid lane that will help out the bot lane with a bit of roams, sometimes play control mages if I have to, and just kind of be a solid piece that you can rely on, and that is very consistent.
Well, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how you fit within the team. I know that things have been tough within the camp in XL, so best of luck this weekend. And thank you for talking to me, Abbedagge, or should I say, Abbedagge. Good luck. But right now, I'm going to let you go.
You can say bicep stiff.
Bicep stiff. Okay, I might need to get you to explain that one to me later. So, yes. Bicep stiff. Trevor, help me out.
Okay, let me know in the winner's interview. Okay. We can talk.
First of all, Abbedagge, she's married with a child. I appreciate the riz, but my man, Abbedagge busting out the biceps. GB, new player coming to the roster. Is this what XL need? Okay, right. I'll move us along then. I want to start with this conversation before we dive deep onto Abbedagge. I want to ask you a simple question. Who would win, a spreadsheet or a splashy boy? And the reason I ask that question is because of a fantastic tweet from XL. One spreadsheet or a fish. Yamato, I'm going to come to you. Let's talk about the player of Abbedagge. The last time he was in the LEC 2021, played in Schalke, he's played 100 Thieves. He's won an LCS title, he's been to Worlds. So what is this player going to do to a struggling roster?
I think when I think of Abbedagge, I just remember his Orianna gameplay, the mage gameplay. I remember watching a lot of his games when he was just battling out against my boy Xerxe over in North America. He seemed to definitely have found himself over there after joining a team mid-split, being sold to, of course, 100 Thieves. I think it's always exciting to see a player come back, because after some time off, you have an opportunity to really reflect on your experience and really, dig into what you can work on and what you can improve on and what your strengths are. And I think always when players come back, seeing how that evolution has happened is always going to be interesting, because in the end, the splits, they kind of melt together otherwise if you're always competing.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, when I'm looking back at some of those shots, Abbedagge's really grown up, definitely found himself. I want to see what he's going to do today. Let's talk about some of the champions he has playing in solo queue. It's obviously not the best indication, but I think also let's consider the Champs playing solo queue and the opponents coming up against in Larssen.
Yeah, so I took a look at it again today just to get the updated path of it as well, and we have seen a lot of Jace, we've seen some Ahri as well, and I think that's really good to see because, well, we already saw with VTO, they wanted to play the Jace, they wanted to be proactive with that so they could play through the mid lane but also put it in other places. We see the solo queue champions coming through.
Yeah.
I am not expecting to see Zed, Akali, sure, but why not? But I still think, like, as he said himself, like, he can be kind of plug and play, and he can just play for the rest of his teammates. He's not looking to be the one who takes charge in the mid lane. He's looking to be the one who just pushes it in and then helps the teammates.
How will Larssen handle that? How will he handle up against him? I mean, what do you make of the individual matchup? Because we've been very focused on one player, one team.
Yeah.
Let's bring the matchup into
Yeah,
focus.
so I think Larssen specifically has tried to play that style recently as well. We've seen a lot of the Twisted Fate to come through, and I think that also speaks of the 1v1 into the 2v2. How will it play into how the mid laners get matchup or get prior from the matchup they had drafted for themselves, but then also what jungler is really going to make that difference to get the priority in mid lane. Once you have the priority and the enemy mid laner is stuck on the tower, where do you move that priority then?
I think the key question always when it comes to Larssen is like, what has he been practicing? What is the champion he really wants to lock in? Because there was this thing we called the Larssen test, where we just looked at what he would play in solo queue on the day that he would play, and then he would want to lock that in. When I think of Larssen, I think of the Tristana, I think of the Azir. I think the key thing that Abbedagge needs to be mindful of is that Malrang, you know, if I try to put Malrang in the frame of like a poker player, he just goes all in no matter before even checking his hand. So he's gonna come there, come mid, level 2 gank, level 3 gank.
Prove it to me. Prove it to me. Do you have an example to show me? I know that you do.
I have
so
a
let's talk
perfect
about
example,
it.
baby. Perfect example. Oi, oi, oi. Divi's gonna help me out because I don't know how to manage technology. We have this replay of Malrang playing Larssen, and this is just such a perfect Malrang example because as a jungler, you need to hit very specific beats. You need to get level 5, level 4 before the first Drake. You need to be level 6 when Rift Herald goes. So if I'm gonna play it, we're just gonna play it. What do you think about this level 2 gank?
Yeah, well, at first, you know, you can see the idea of it, right? You can chunk him out, if you can get the flash, anything like that, it's great. But you also sacrifice a lot for going for ganks like this because, well, one is, you know your tracking is going to be there from the enemy jungler. You just took red buff, you walked immediately into mid lane, and where he goes after really will give a lot of intel to enemy team as well.
For sure. Like another key detail about this is it's like a clean level 2 gank without doing your raptors. So he's going to be crossing into bottom side without doing these minor camps that are going to respawn after you base. We're just going to play this through. He's going to lose so much HP in mid, even take a turret shot just to make sure the humanoid loses his HP, and then he crosses into bottom side. I think maybe in this moment, maybe that he could have, just because he's Larssen, actually do the Gromp, do the blue, and then cross into top side. But the fact that he leaves the Gromp alive really hurts him coming into the clear, coming into the top side. So we're just going to let it play. We're just going to let it play. Take it easy. Look at that, punching the wolves. Thank God they changed the patch so he actually gets level 3 here. But it's just that the important detail, right? Is just that the Gromp is alive.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like right now, what we really want to highlight is the inefficiency of all of this right now. You're playing into the Vi. The Vi usually wants to look for that level 6 as soon as possible, or an early gank. And as soon as Ransom, or as soon as the Vi, I think it was Ransom at the time, but as soon as they see him suddenly go up towards the top side, in towards the mid lane, you're just going to full clear. You already know where he was going to go. You can just say, all right, my game plan is simple right now. I don't need to worry about anything.
You know, the only like contrast is Malrang crazy enough to stay in bottom side and cover for his bot? But the key thing is...
It would usually be yes.
Usually yes, but Vi, of course, is going to come into that fight as level 4. So I'm just going to let it roll. And then, of course, you know, if I think of the psychology of Malrang, why does he do this gameplay? Is it a choice of his, or is it like an identity that he has developed together with his team? Because the fact that his teammates die to ganks like this maybe puts his idea that he has to just sacrifice himself and be there all the time.
Yeah, because like this is a scenario where you should know that Razork is down towards the bot side now, and you know the bot lane of KOI knew it as well. You could see they tried to get the crash, but here's where Malrang perhaps should have been in the bag to really help them out with that push. And now on the top side instead, what can he get done instead? Well, the answer is not much.
Not much at all. And the key thing is, once again, I want to just point out the fact that the minor camp that Malrang cleared, the first one was the Wolves, and this was at 3 minutes. Vi is going to base now and start clearing her camps. When you think of the context of the first dragon, always the calculation that you make is you take your first 6 camps, and then you clear the top side camps because you started there, the Gromp and the Wolf, you cross into bottom side, and usually if you've succeeded in a gank and gotten a kill on Vi, this means that you're going to be level 5. But just that continuation, already walking into that Drake fight, Malrang,
Spotted on Vision as well.
my man's got no camps. This is the first time he killed Gromp, and he's taking this risk now to take this Drake, of course, off Vision. So he's going to let it play. And of course, Vi, she finished her second clear of Raptors, and Vi is walking into this situation with level 5 and also 40 CS in comparison to Malrang's 28. So already the fact that he's so low HP here, it could have ended dangerous. Kalista and, of course, Tarik are very strong in this fight, so I understand why Fnatic don't want to play it out. But just a continuation again, the read and what the camps are next in order, what Malrang is going to do in terms of his decision-making is so easy, because Vi plays the wards.
You can just see it as well. It's full vision control, and Malrang, he's got no business being here. He still has the flash up as well. Disrespects that completely. Thinks he can get out with a W, and then Razork just takes over again. And it's an early game where you had the initial one level 2 gang to go for in the mid lane.
Yes.
Nothing came of it, and it's just inefficient.
And the final detail that I want to part ways with, because we could follow this replay forever, the fact that he's going to be behind makes him miss those key beats. If you follow along on this replay, the fight on mid, Vi is level 6, he's level 5. All of a sudden, he doesn't hit those key beats that every jungler needs to hit. Guldborg, can you send it to game for me, baby?
All right, which version of Malrang will we see today versus Xerxe? The medic, over to your duo.
Did he say Domedic like Darude?
I think he did.
Yeah, nah, man. Nah, fam. Just as a reminder, teams are playing remotely due to some positive COVID-19 cases. We're wishing swift recoveries to the players and staff over at Xerxe. Before we get into the game, though, you said you wanted some medi-vedi-isms.
Okay,
You
here
ready?
we go. I'm ready.
Why shouldn't you trust stairs?
Why shouldn't you trust theirs, man?
They're always up to something. Yes. Yes.
All right.
I've actually, on my way here, I was reading a book about superglue. Yeah, couldn't put it down.
Okay.
The problem is we're taking a new route that has a lot of speed bumps over it, and I'm deathly afraid of speed bumps. I'm slowly getting over it, though.
I'm getting there.
League of Legends. KOI versus Xerxe.
Yes, please.
Obviously, we're going to get into the draft in just a moment's time. Huge game for both these teams. It's one of those things where, obviously, a mantra for the LEC over the last few years is every game counts. Every game matters, right? This one really matters. Every game this week really matters. We have so many ties that if you can manage to pick up a win, every game is a 6-point game. You are elevating yourself, and you're pushing someone down to the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, every game does feel like a 6-point game this weekend, and it's probably going to continue to feel that way. I feel like here, especially for the side of KOI, after making it so far, they're going to want to, at the very least, get themselves a pretty decent standings come the end of this weekend. It's been a tough road so far, but I'm sure this will hopefully for them be the start of things. Xerxe on the opposite side now with Abbedagge, potentially a new look. It's one of those weird things. I feel like mid lane in comp, when you swap out mid laner, unless you've got like a super different, versatile mid compared to, I'm talking like, you have a leader who loves his assassins, and then you get someone like Ruby. Or Chovy, who just loves to sit there in the mid lane and farm for like 20 minutes. I'm not sure what style Abbedagge is going to be bringing for us with Xerxe. He did say he's very willing to kind of just do anything, be versatile, and I guess that's probably going to be the key word for him, and we'll see whether or not Xerxe will change up, because they needed a change, it felt like, and this is the one that they've gone for.
And in we dive to Champion Select. Xerxe on their way to getting the 5 parts of Exodia with the introduction of Abbedagge, Odoamne Abbedagge. Was it Limit who was on the team that made the Miracle Run in the good old days, I think?
I'm not as much.
Odoamne and Abbedagge were definitely there. Maybe it was Upset as well, actually.
I'm a zoomer. You ask me these questions, I'm not always going to have the answers. I'm not
going to say, as a zoomer, you were alive in 2019, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
just checking that one. Oh, we have see-through Champion Select this time. Oh, I'm enjoying this. A little bit of...
not quite entirely, what's the word, opaque?
It's not as opaque as we'd like it to be.
This looks quite all right, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks cool. We're going for, a new aesthetic, but I heard my producer in my ear say it's not meant to be this transparent, right?
I don't mind it though. Can we keep it?
Yeah?
Yeah.
For now, we can at least. Draven banned away. There's the Rakan as well. One last joke.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, do you know any good jokes about rope?
No, but I'm sure you're about to educate me thoroughly.
Nah, I'm afraid not. Jace, Xayah taken away. Caitlyn and Rakan as well removed from the pool. We'll see where XL decide to go with their final ban. Annie, something that is very strong at the moment and will be taken away. So now, KOI, first pick, Zeri. Okay, cool. That was a quick discussion on that one.
No discussion had. Vi, question mark, followed up by Aphelios, question mark again. This is the kind of responses I'm used to out in the LPL. We'll see whether or not XL want to go towards those kind of things. You already see the Zeri, so going towards the AD carry makes a whole bunch of sense, and there have been quite a few banned away. Playing with the idea of a Gragas here. And again, I feel like Gragas, generally very solid pick, right? Kind of does everything, hand in every single jar, engage, disengage, whatever you want him to do, he'll do. And it seems like XL want to just go towards that route.
And Gragas is just such a powerful pick generally as we go to a more solid form of our draft. I think the ability to flex in mid, jungle, as you say, like you can go top lane, it just gives you so much flexibility early in the draft. XL though, looking for perhaps an aggressive bot lane, the Lucian locked in. I saw a Reddit post about should Lucian just leave Senna now and, you know, get married to Nami. I'm pretty sure that's what Shape of Water was based on as a movie.
Yeah, I forgot that Shape of War existed, and I'm very upset that I just remembered that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've never watched it. All I've seen is the promo pieces. So.
Yeah.
Into that though, Lulu and Gnar immediately locked in.
That was a really weird call out, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes you browse Reddit, you see something, you're like, maybe this could work, and then it doesn't, and usually your co-caster kind of leaves it out there. But Jamada, I'm happy you called me out on it. Actually, because VoD would stand by.
I'm not gonna do a VoD. I'm gonna fight back. I'm not gonna let it happen. No, I'm joking. But anyway, going back to it, KOI have given themselves the Gnar blind, potentially blind, of course. Odoamne could be the one piloting this Gragas. So this is where things could get a little bit irritating here for KOI, because with the Gragas pick being there with a bottom lane, you can't really comfortably ban away any lane. So I feel like you're likely just going to have to go towards things that are quite general bans, right? If you feel like Xerxe is not going to pilot it, then sure, you can move away some of the jungle picks. But right now, as Malrang, you need those, so you can't ban those away. That's about the only thing they probably won't ban. So they remove away the Cassante, could potentially see something like the Sion as well then come through, just because typically Lucian, Nami, not the best at tank busting, but will very much blow up squishier champs.
Wouldn't be surprised, as you say, if we do see that Sion taken away. Malrang's pool being pinched a little bit with the Xin. He's played only Lee Sin and Sejuani so far, though, here in Spring, so as Lee Sin has been hit or miss at times. Those Qs often going wide. XL, though, perhaps don't need to focus too much on that. In fact, leave up the Lee Sin for him if he wants to take it. Sejuani, their decision in terms of final bans.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, though, because quite likely to go towards team fighting. So what do? They remove away two of the junglers that are still left up, which fear the best in team fighting, whereas Lee Sin, a little more skirmish orientated, of course, a very versatile champion and can kind of do everything, but it's about meeting the execution floor, which is not always super easy to do. And I guess the question is now, will KOI just remove away the Sion in place? No, they go towards Tristana. So just removing away mid lane AD champion when you've got Gragas there. If you feel like Gragas is going to go in the jungle, it's a very strong 2v2, and they don't have to deal with that option. And that also says to me that Larssen is likely going to be looking towards something very scaly in the mid lane.
Larssen on a scaling mage? I am shocked, Jamada. Obviously.
Color me surprised.
I shall. Azir obviously still an option for Larssen, his most played across the course of his career. XL still have the flexibility of that. Gragas can be top, can be mid. With the Wukong locked in, though, we know what Xerxe will have his hands on. It was banned away from him a lot in winter and then started being left up a little bit as teams got a handle on his ability to play the champ.
Yeah. I really am curious about what Larssen's going to do. If he's just going to go towards the, the classic.
This is it, man. There's no way it's not Azir.
At the very least, we're going to get Vi.
Okay. You know what goes well with a Vi?
Ahri.
Yes. Talia also.
Yeah.
There's a bird you're missing.
No.
It's a poultry matter of something.
Quinn's a bird champ.
Yes. Quinn Vi is not a combination I've seen too often, Jamada.
Me neither. But you said bird. It's going to be Azir. All right, that's fine. I mean, it makes sense in the grand scheme of things, right? KOI very much just looking for a front-to-back teamfight composition. It seems like Vi will function as their primary engage. and they'll try and lock down a target after that. Though I will say KOI's composition realistically just kind of wants to get in place and set up shop and have XL come into them. And right now, they've kind of geared themselves towards that composition slowly but surely, right? With the Wukong, Nami, Lucian, Gragas. Obviously, Gragas can do whatever he wants, but when he has that comp next to him, he's going to do exactly that. And Malphite is going to come in on R5. Bit of a lane counter to the Gnar. He can definitely struggle into like Q-Max, Comet, a whole bunch of poke, and then Malphite's still going to Malphite in the mid-game and be very rock solid. So it seems like to me, XL are very happy to just look for these mid-game engages, press the go bomb whenever they feel like it, and KOI are just consistently gonna have to keep track of Odoamne, or he will certainly find both Comp and Larssen.
Yeah, it does feel very much like XL are the initiators of a lot of the action in this game, and if it gets past that mid-game, if it gets past 2 items, it feels like this XL composition might struggle a little bit into KOI. Just KOI's team fighting as a whole seems more tailored to front to back.
Yeah, I will say that. I think as we've gone throughout the years of League, especially the last 2 or 3, I feel like scaling matters like less and less, and it becomes more about execution and what you can actually get done in the mid game, especially when you've got kind of a shotgun comp like XL do. So whilst I will say the flat line scaling, you know, just surface level definitely favors KOI, right? Very easy to execute. I feel like XL, all it takes is one good engage, and that's all that it can be for them to take home a potential win.
Do you see that Grabs was sitting in the audience, pretty sure he had his notepad out, looking at what a good draft could be? Obviously, over the years, Grabs has been on the receiving end of a little bit of that, but I think with hindsight, people put him up in their estimations. However, no impact on the game here today. KOI and XL not taking to the stage. Sadly, we've had to substitute them with a few teddy bears, but thankfully, yeah, very cute teddy bears. Although I will say, most of them only have one eye, and that does mess with your depth perception. But that doesn't actually matter too much because there's a 2D plane that you're playing on. True. In terms of a monitor, so perhaps the best place for those bears to be.
You know, as we get into this game, Medic, I want to ask you a question because I've just realized something that's super medical and I don't care.
Okay.
I've realized recently that maybe my depth perception is actually messed up because I don't sit perpendicular to my curved monitor.
Yeah.
I think that's messing with my eyes.
I mean, it definitely could.
Okay.
I will say, it is a brave move to make to ask me that question on air in front of probably 100,000 people watching at home. Because I could have gone, yeah, mate, you're screwed. Yeah, I'm really sorry. We actually need to get you to A&E right now.
Hey.
Have you heard of a vestibular schwannoma?
Hey, look, if I'm comfortable enough to ask that in front of 100,000 people, I feel like I'm feeling all right for this game.
For this game, because these are flat monitors.
These are flat monitors. Oh, if they were curved, they would be finished, yeah.
Absolutely ruined. For the moment, though, both these teams going to draw their lines of scrimmage on Summoner's Rift. And we have 2 more games for each of these teams after this. 4 wins seems to be our benchmark to make sure that you are into the group stage. KOI and XL. Well, KOI were able to make it into groups in winter. XL obviously fell out of the bottom of the pack alongside Fnatic and are trying to renew their ability to make it into the bracket stage. They've had a few fumbles, more than a few, but over the last couple of weeks they've started to look a little bit more cohesive, and perhaps Abbedagge is the magic addition to their lineup that will allow them to make it into groups for the first time in 2023.
Yeah, like we said, as we came into the draft, XL needs to change up something, whether it was roster or playstyle, and they've gone for the former. And it's been a while since we've seen Abbedagge here in the LEC. Of course, had his stint out in NA. Pretty successful one, if I'd say so myself. So returning back home to Europe, first game, we'll see how he does. It's a pretty whatever matchup, right? You'll probably get shoved in here a fair bit in the early stages by this Azir, but eventually it's all about team fighting, right? It's all about finding those flash body slams, the big casks onto Comp, onto Larssen, just trying to provide for your team. And I mean, when you've got Malphite and Wukong next to you, I think you're always going to be providing something for those guys.
Yeah, you have a lot of CC in this XL lineup, and you see it is the Comet for Odoamne up towards that top lane. Szygenda went fleet footwork on the Gnar, just for a little bit more sustain in the matchup as well. Obviously, the ranged form, very beneficial for the Gnar. You can just harass that Malphite down, but if Malphite is able to get some Q spam on you, it becomes a little bit more tricky. Malrang, though, looking for something in the jungle here as Xerxe is on his Gromp. I think Malrang just pinged that the blue was up, thinking perhaps that Xerxe was on the Wolves. Still 20 seconds before a Scuttle Crab comes up. There's a ward down towards this bottom side, so Malrang's just hovering in the darkness. He will go up as he thought Xerxe was starting the blue. I think he thought Xerxe was on Wolves and was going to come across to the blue and then would be, you know, half health because he was doing the blue at the time.
Yeah.
Trymbi and Comp trying to push in the bottom lane to add some pressure for their jungler.
Yeah, the big issue here is that the bottom side should have first move, actually Patrik and Limit, just because of the way the geography of the map works. So it's a bit of an awkward situation, even though KOI have lane priority, they won't necessarily get to the play first. And also in the mid lane, Abbedagge is taking a pretty hefty chunk as well, so maybe Larssen makes it over there first. Seems like it will just be yielded. Malrang will retreat back to the skull, and he will secure that one. Xerxe keeps his full clear, and much like we had the telestrator from GB and Yamato, Malrang pretty inefficient pathing, as Comp should be fine.
Malrang could go back in here. Limit has to flash away. Xerxe diving forward onto Comp. The heal used the barrier as well, and Comp's still healthy enough to continue the fight. Patrik tries to turn it back around, but look at the mana bars on Patrik and Limit. Not very healthy at all, and so it'll be difficult for them to continue to trade in here. Xerxe leeching XP as is Malrang down towards this bottom lane. You can see Trymbi and Comp just want to get the wave in so that they can get back. They'll use the Ultra Shock laser to do so. And now the KOI bot lane can retreat back to their fountain.
Yeah, I think XL, with the mana bars the way they were, wanted a good lane reset, so like keeping Xerxe there, but then also Malrang there just because the lane wanted to be crashed, just simply because it was a good lane state to crash it on. So eventually KOI do get their lane in, they will get the reset first. We'll see how much that matters for Comp and Trymbi in around 60 to 90 seconds time or so. For XL though, they will be on that back foot, and not necessarily the worst start. The CS is still the same in the bottom side, and with Nami and Lucian, as we've kind of developed more and more with this bottom lane duo, it's kind of come a lot more to the mid game, right? Gale Force plus that 1.5 item spike, whatever it may be, Dirk or etc. with the mandate coming in, and that's when you start to take control of the mid lane map.
And getting an early mandate on your support so powerful for that bottom lane. Malrang was able to get double scuttle here by never doing his red buff or his Krugs. A worthy sacrifice, it feels, for a little bit of crab meat. He will work his way back up towards that top side. You can see Limit just shadowing Abbedagge in case Malrang did look for anything more. And Malrang is a key talking point for KOI, not only because he's been struggling individually, but also because of the drop in form that he's had. Like in winter, he was behind in gold, but he was very active on the map. You can see forward percentage really high, lots of kills and assists at the 14-minute mark, around his team quite a lot. And in spring, he's falling behind in gold, but he's also not as active, not getting as many kills. And the phrase we often use with Malrang is, the teams have worked him out. People have found him out. They finally worked out how to deal with his style, but it feels like everyone's playing Malrang's style, and Malrang's just coming up a little bit short. Yeah,
it's kind of awkward, right? I feel like that was KOI's, formerly of course Rogue, that was their thing last year, right? Malrang just kind of ran to lanes, and I think now that we've swapped away from what was a very hard farming meta now, with teams catching up, it does feel a little bit awkward that KOI didn't just immediately get off to a good start anyway. This is a really hefty trade. That's an ignite.
Patrik polymorphed as well. Both the AD carries down to, 300 HP, 120 for Comp. He does have a pot running. Xerxe is going to work his way down towards this bottom lane. Malrang on the way as well, securing that red buff for the first time this game. Blast cones in. Control ward for Xerxe means that he can step further forward. Patrik diving forward. Aquavism hits, but so does the Ultra Laser Flash for Flash. Comp though, Xerxe dives forward. He hit a minion, but he flashes, but he'll die for it.
Okay. Oh, Xerxe had me for a second there, medic, I'm not gonna lie. The crushing blow goes onto that minion, but he does eventually find Comp, and he will get his first blood. But my oh my, almost a really huge fumble. As immediate replay, the trades just drawing both junglers down here. As the bubble connects, but the Ultra Shock laser, 185 damage at this stage is huge. As the observers didn't have to do that, did they? That minion's got a headache. He doesn't feel too good.
Xerxe does have to burn his flash. Importantly, the wave, I think Lulu was able to freeze it outside of the tower range, so Comp doesn't actually lose too much. Yeah. That's the meditation of loss. You take a moment, you sit in your stone skin, I guess, and you just think about what you've done.
The name of it's passive.
Yeah, exactly. It's as if I know these things.
I know.
Thank you. It's a statue to your own incompetence. For Xerxe. He was able to pick up the first blood, though, so he's about 300 gold ahead, though. Across the rest of the board, you can see Trymbi got the kill in response, so he has a little bit of a lead down towards that bottom lane. KOI, about 600 gold ahead or so.
Yeah, map state, all right, all things considered. I think for KOI, any kind of stability with a draft like this, when you've got Azir and Zeri away for 2 items, this is perfectly fine. I think for XL, they want to start to look to try and force the issue a little bit now. The level 6s have come online. You've got Cask, Cyclone, Malphite, Ormet. Make something of it. Right now, KOI on the top side, however, taking the Herald with Malrang, and Xerxe is looking for a cross-map play to try and give some pressure down towards the KOI bottom side.
It's good pathing from Xerxe. He wasn't spotted out by any wards, but Trymbi and Comp realized, well, there's no wave to play for here, so why on earth are we standing this far up? Especially with our jungler on the top side of the map doing the Herald. Dragon started with the Ultra Shock laser, and Xerxe could go down and try and secure that, knowing that Malrang is getting that Herald, but Xerxe is looking for a piece of action somewhere, if he can find it. And as you say, that level 6 really the go button for XL. They may be waiting as well for some dragon stacking. You know, if you get the first couple of dragons, you can force a fight at 1.5, 2 items, and that will put KOI in a bit of a tricky situation. For the moment, though, all quiet on the western front, it feels.
Yeah, all quiet, but XL should probably get this dragon. Doesn't seem like Malrang is too interested, though. He just finished that camp, so...
Oh, Malrang has upgraded Smite.
Oh, and Xerxe
That's
does
a
not.
300 gold Smite difference if Malrang goes for it. He's walking. He's walking, Jamada. He's in the bush. There's no vision. There's no... Okay.
That's tough. That's unfortunate, isn't it?
However,
But, yeah,
good on us for noticing it.
that is true.
That's important.
Yeah.
These little things
It's
have
kind of
no impact on the game whatsoever, but it's, you know...
It's also kind of our job
Yeah.
to notice those kind of small things. So I guess good job us.
Yeah. Good job us.
Good job us.
I've been thinking more and more about, you know, you have that inner critic, the voice that says you're not good enough sometimes, you're not doing something well enough. You got to have an inner hype man as well. That's what I was doing there. It was more of an external hype man.
Okay.
It's like, hey, good job us, you know? Well
Yeah.
done us. I'm sure as a player as well, sometimes that can be a really important voice, you know? If you're struggling in a game, sometimes you're like, hey, yes, I auto-attacked a minion with my Q, but I still got the kill. Good job me, you know? Just picking a random event out of the air there, hypothetical, if you did that as a Wukong in the second game of the day.
Yeah, but see, the issue is when you play League of Legends, there's more than one voice talking back at you.
Mute all is an option, Jamada.
It's not the teammates, Medic, I promise. But right now, for XL and for KOI, I think both going according to plan.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing too out there. I think for XL, they want to try and take this next dragon on spawn so that KOI are forced to try and fight at this third dragon, and that's probably going to be the best shot that you have to, you know, kind of push KOI further behind in the gold department right now. Keeping up, this feels like, you know, kind of a 1.5K-ish gold lead as things stand.
Patrik, no flash. Cease and desist being used. Acroprism coming out as well, but Patrik dives in, looking for some more damage on Comp. Can't get enough. Comp takes the kill, and KOI have 2 on the board. Malrang put down the Rift Herald here as well. They might look to crack 2 plates first, then Rift Herald it to get a little bit more gold. May even just not invest it. No, they do. In the end.
Yeah, of course, Malrang picked this Herald up earlier. Didn't really mention where it could go, but realistically, Comp, Zeri, Lulu. Yeah, it was always going to go here. I will say, a mid lane drop could have been alright though. Just simply because there's not a huge amount of wave clear available to the side of XL, but Comp, no, he's fine. He's Zeri. Not going to get interrupted.
Surfs over the Kit Kat banner and gets himself out of any potential danger.
Do you reckon if there was a Kit Kat big enough that Zeri could like skate on it like how she does with the walls?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to eat it afterwards, but...
Yeah. Neither would I.
Good.
Yeah, I feel like that would be unsanitary, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if it's food that someone stepped on, you probably wouldn't want to eat that.
That's true, but I think most of us have probably eaten that at some point in our lives. I worked in fast food for a very short period of time.
Oh, yeah.
Probably has happened.
Saw some things, huh?
You know. XL looking to try and get a bit of an answer back here, but I think KOI doing exactly what they usually do in an early game when things go to plan. Get a lead, get a bit of gold into Comp, and then just keep the lanes even or slowly develop CS advantages across the board. You can see top lane, 6 CS up, mid lane, 3 CS up, bot lane, 8 CS and a few tower plates as well. And XL, they have this composition that can fight. When all of the stars align, when they get all of their ultimates off, it can go well. It's just whether or not they get the opportunity to do that, or whether KOI are going to be able to just strangle them out of this game.
Yeah, it does feel like on both fronts from both perspectives, right? XL haven't necessarily looked to force many an issue, but also I have to also just credit KOI for keeping XL at arm's length for a majority of this game and taking plays when it makes sense to take them.
Yeah.
And not really giving much a response to XL, as Larssen is just being a complete nuisance here in the mid lane.
It's his most played champ. He's very comfortable on it. I think he only has like a 54% win rate, but he's got 60-odd games on Azir. So
the higher the game count, you know, sometimes the win rate might dip a bit.
But just a tad, unless you're Faker and it's your LeBlanc.
Yeah,
He's
that's
gone like
true.
15 games unbeaten on the champion, I think, this year.
Pretty good. That LeBlanc champ.
Pretty exceptional. But with a minute on the next Drake, Jamada, I really feel that's where our battle lines are going to be drawn, right? Like,
I hope so.
it has been 30 minutes and 3 kills. I can understand the desire for a little bit of action, especially as an LPL caster.
I come from the LPL this year, and like 3 kills at almost 14 minutes is blasphemous. You know, it's a very rare that we get.
Who won last Worlds? Was it LPL?
No.
I watch enough LCK to know this is normal gameplay. This is not a negative gaming experience, Jamada.
All right.
I will say that team fights tend to be slightly better than ours. If anyone hasn't caught it, the T1 versus KT thriller. We won't spoil it, just in case people haven't watched it, but I would highly recommend watching it as soon as you can.
Yeah.
That was a great 5-game series earlier today. For the moment, though, we continue to focus on this dragon spawning in 20 seconds. XL setting up around it. KOI have Shirelli complete on Trymbi, not the hugest spike in power for the team, but can give you a little bit of disengage or even engage if the fight does begin.
Hey, I mean, I will say, what is it, 40% movement speed on the active to get away from all of these diving bruises could be a very big deal, as Odo does have teleport, and that was a pretty good trade as well. And with Szygenda just popping the Mega Gnar, feels like that's not going to be an option here for KOI at all. And XL on the dragon already. I don't feel like this is really a good contest if they take it.
I mean, Szygenda doesn't have TP as well. You can see Odo holding in Tribush in case he needs to teleport down.
Yeah.
XL will look to secure the dragon. Xerxe will be able to smite at him and they'll take it. Odo, you're going in, you're going in, you're going in, you're going in, he's going in! Oh, baby, give it to us, yes! Oh, observers, you absolute smurfs! Oh, the unstoppable force to end all unstoppable forces. Odo with a solo bolo.
We love the observers here in the LEC, and they give us the best possible angle for that 1v1. Szygenda just gets mowed down by the rock, and Odo finds his solo kill. Nothing much to talk about. Flashes were exchanged, but Odo will happily take that kill. And on the bottom side, whilst that's going on, it will be answered for KOI. They will get the turret for comp. I can see you giggling over there. So that's good. That should probably just about propel him into his first item. That's about the first slip up, really, that KOI have made, and it was on an individual basis at absolute worst.
Yeah, but I can smell now what XL are cooking with this draft. Odo showing us just how powerful the Malphite can be, as you say, an old school counter into the Gnar. And Szygenda on the wrong end of a people's elbow there, it seems. As Odo was able to secure the kill. Second Rift Herald of the game, though, secured for KOI. And they continue to do what KOI do, which is get gold leads and get towards the third Drake of the game in an advantageous state. Immortal Shieldbow already complete on comp. Patrik has that Gale Force alongside the Imperial Mandate. So XL do have a lot of damage down towards this bottom side, but it's Szygenda matching right now. Xerxe looking for something. Trymbi hiding in the wings, waiting around the corner. Hasn't been spotted as of yet, but with Szygenda going Mega and the rest of KOI on their way, the TP being used. There's no tower here, and XL do not know they're about to be flanked. Caught between a tower and another one. Xerxe trying to get away with the decoy, gets the Cyclone onto Comp. They're trying to kill off Comp before the fight can really begin. He's Lulu ulted, but in the end he will fall. Larssen going in onto Patrik, flashes away from the Ember Survivor, but it still hits. Odo now joining the fight. Trymbi polymorphs him. Limit trying to get away from Malrang, will be chased down towards this bottom side. Abbedagge going back in with a body slam. Odo slaps Trymbi around the head and sends him packing. Abbedagge gets another, and in the end it's a 4-3 in favor of XL. Abbedagge not done yet. He's looking for a little bit more.
Yeah, Larssen should be able to walk this one out, but this is the thing about the XL composition. It doesn't really matter if KOI have a bit of a goal lead right now, because XL's champions thrive more in a skirmishing scenario like what we just saw unfold in front of us. And KOI, I can definitely appreciate the attempt here for this collapse. You can definitely see that XL, Patrik, Limit, they're kind of overextending, but XL make the call to a point to kind of just stand their ground on all fronts. You can see on the top half, Abbedagge goes in, almost blows up Comp, doesn't quite work out. Eventually he drops, but Larssen isn't able to offer anything to this team fight, and Malrang, it feels like as well, on the opposite side, couldn't really do enough in time to ensure that none of his carries got dropped as quickly as Comp did. And as well, Odo had a pretty nice 2-mana armor in the middle of that mix-up. A little bit too difficult to overcome here, I feel like, just yet for KOI.
A big thing as well for XL in that fight is, alongside winning it, how many flashes are you burning? Because the next fight's going to happen in 2 minutes' time, and your ultimates are so impactful. That fight, yes, it's great to get the kills, but if you burn Larssen's flash, if you burn Trymbi's flash, you make it so much easier to isolate them in the Drake fight that will happen in about 2 minutes' time. Comp still has his, I believe his was actually down in the battle around the bot lane. And as another tower falls for KOI, that gold lead continues to be around 1,000. Comp slides and glides his way back to the safety of his tower, but you can see the damage that can come out. Patrik only 0-2 on this Lucian, but with Gale Force and the Dirk, it's the power spike you were talking about, Jamada.
Yeah, and realistically now we're looking at a little bit under 90 seconds this next dragon. With those flashes gone, like you said, it's crucial that KOI are positioned perfectly and don't get caught unawares by Odo, by Xerxe, or by Abbedagge, or they will just get one shot. It is as simple as that for now. It is an Ocean Dragon and Soul, we didn't talk about that. Pretty nice to have for the side of XL when you're running 3 bruisers, effectively, will make you just a little bit tougher to cut down. So KOI may have to index, potentially, into anti-healing if we get to that stage of the game, depending on how oppressive it gets. But for now, I feel like they, dare I say it, they might have to just concede the next dragon.
Always a dangerous thing to do. Rift Herald still sits on Malrang's shoulders, though, so could look to push it in this top lane, get pressure for the tier 2.
Yeah.
Could, of course, just be shadowing Larssen in case XL looked for something.
Oh no, they want the play. So I think they're just going to look for a cross map here, maybe give up this 3rd dragon. I think they've just kind of acknowledged that they won't win the fight. XL, I think they realize that too, and they're just trying to get as much pressure down as possible. So it looks like they just want the tier 2, give more gold to Larssen, right? This is just all about trying to accrue whatever pressure or gold they can find, but it's just going to be the charge. There is no tower takedown. Gragas has enough wave clear to hold on to that right now.
And the issue as well for KOI is they don't have TP on Larssen, right? So Abbedagge can get down to this fight if needed. So what he wants to do now is try and disrupt Larssen from that recall that was happening. Did exactly that, as you say, stop Larssen from getting back. You can see KOI, as you said, Jamada, giving up the 3rd Drake of the game. XL have just left Xerxe on it. Patrik dashing forward once again. Comp just getting shredded. Odo did have the ultimate there, could have gone for something. The cast coming out, Abbedagge needs to clear out the cannon minion, but couldn't quite do that, so a tower in the top lane does fall in favor of KOI. They get what they were expecting out of the sequence of events, but now XL, perhaps slightly on the back foot. Odo can act as a bouncer, using himself as a living ward, bases in the bush. The control ward comes out from Patrik as well, but that ward just outside of tower range that Limit is backing on means that KOI were well aware of everything that was happening.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if XL were going to try and cut off both Malrang and Larssen in that top half of the jungle, but not quite feeling like it with Abbedagge not having the ultimate. You know, they'd rather not try and take that fight, and still, at the end of the day, I feel like XL sit kind of comfortably in this game state. To counter that point, however, Comp and Larssen have finally made their 2 iron breakpoints, so maybe they look to try and find a fight now, but they have been quite passive. They have been looking to just collect gold, as kind of illustrated. They're still up 1,500-ish right now.
But that's been relatively stable for a while here. I realized I was about to talk about a graphic that I brought up, but there's already a graphic on the screen.
Yeah.
So I can't talk about the graphic that I brought up.
That's
For the moment, though, I will just talk about the fact that I was about to talk about the graphic that I brought up. The gold difference has been relatively stable for a while. You can see bouncing up and down, but it's never really crested that 2,000 gold mark after KOI were able to get those early leads, get those early plates in the bot lane. It's been XL pulling it back a little bit, letting it get out a little bit, or, you know, KOI taking a bit more of an advantage. Still being within 1.7 to 2,000 gold right now. XL will be pretty happy with their situations, especially since they have that 3rd Drake.
Yeah, with the 3rd Drake, things feel pretty good. I think now for KOI, it's about trying to actually establish a bit of a foothold in the game in terms of map pressure and presence, right? I think now you have to try and be in front of that objective first. If you're checking into Fog of War against Wukong, Malphite, Gragas, yeah, it's not going to feel fun. It's not going to feel fun at all. So KOI have to try and find a way to break this mid lane stronghold that XL have right now, but it's so difficult to get priority over Nami Lucian. Perhaps you can look for just a kind of a semi-half-hearted force in to try and find a bit of vision through the mid lane, but I think even that is a risk that realistically I feel like KOI as a team would likely not take.
I'll be honest, in my experience in sports in the past, I find a semi-half-hearted force doesn't tend to be the best course of action. Often you need to be a little bit more invested into it, as Patrik tries to invest a bit of DPS into Comp's backside, but Comp's still able to dash away. Wild Growth still available for Trymbi alongside the heal. All flashes up as well on the side of KOI alongside the side of XL. So this next Dragon Dance, perhaps a Dragon Descent into Madness for these teams, that battle where this game may be won or lost.
Yeah, there isn't a whole bunch of vision in the river on either side. It's a lot of sort of deep vision or very defensive on the side of KOI, so I expect now that Limit has just taken a reset and he's refreshed up on the wards, that XL will try and take control of one side of the map. With 2 minutes left until the Dragon, I feel like they might try and set up in the top side.
Yeah.
See if they can bait in KOI. We saw a very similar kind of, you know, Dragon for Baron Gambit last game from Astralis. So I feel like that could also be a very solid play here for XL if they really want it, because Ocean Soul on point of take isn't always inherently super oppressive. It's not Hex Soul, it's not Infernal, so trying to bait KOI into that fight and potentially just seeing the topside river ready to burn Baron down could also be a cool. I feel like the world is the oyster for XL, and it's about right now how KOI can try and battle the way out of this.
KOI looking for that pearl in the oyster's mouth, but unfortunately you have to dig deep to find that at times. We'll say that XL's damage on a Baron isn't the most.
It's not high.
It's not very high. You know, you have Gragas in the mid lane, and you have Lucian, who, yes, can put out some DPS, but much more effective at killing enemies than taking those neutrals. Odoamne is going to match Szygenda up towards this top lane, and with a minute left, you can see KOI investing some time into getting vision around this blue side jungle.
Yeah. You know, it's so strange. With KOI holding a gold lead for so long, you'd feel like they're the ones that are in control. Now this is finally where they're going to be able to flex the fact that they've been able to maintain this gold difference. And as we was kind of asking for, they have control of the bottom side of the river. They're actually set up here with Trymbi and Malrang. They don't necessarily have a whole bunch of vision, but they do have the vision right at the wolf camp and right at the entrance as well, right beside it. So that could be enough to have a good setup and have some information ready.
And you can see that XL calling for Odo to come across just to try and help clear some of this out, because Xerxe isn't that tanky. He's got a Corefield's Warhammer, a little Kindle Gem, and a Divine Sundra, right? That is not a tanky Wukong. Yes, you can check with clones and dash out and dash in, but Odo really the one they want face checking into KOI. Dragon up in 30 seconds time. Both these teams battling still, of course, for their spots in the group stage. A win for KOI would put them up, you know, near 90% of scenarios. Odo TPing away. Now, Szygenda doesn't have Mega Knight. He's TPing to the mid lane just to try and bolster his team's efforts at pushing through here. Odo looking for something, trying to find an opportunity to get in. And yep, that rock is very dangerous if he can get onto KOI, but with 2 seconds left, that Dragon about to spawn and XL walking into the darkness. A Royal Rumble about to erupt, you have to feel for XL. Dragon down to 7,000. Xerxe can just decoy in though. The ward goes in, but a control ward stops its vision for the time being. Szygenda building up that Mega Gnar. Patrik going in with the culling, a heal coming out as well as Limit tops up his AD carry. Comp trying to put some damage down as well. 2 items already complete on the Zeri. The Dragon still aggroed, 6,000 HP on it, and you can see both teams a little tentative, both teams a little scared. As Szygenda's chunked down to half, he's going to go Mega in just a second. Does he have the flash? He does. Flash Mega Gnar, a possibility, but he can't get in. Polymorph onto Odoamne, knocks him back. Does still have the unstoppable force. And you smell it, what the rock is cooking. He gets onto Comp, and Comp immediately flashes away the barrel used as well, and that's the engage tools out of XL. Szygenda goes back into the minion arm, and Patrik dashes forward, light slinging out the damage. TP available for Szygenda as he goes back to the base with the Dragon down to 4,000. Odo keeps Szygenda around for the time being. Abbedagge acting as a bouncer. Malrang to the pit though. He looks for the steal, he can't get there in time. Ocean Soul secured for XL, and KOI could only watch as it fell.
Yeah, I mean, KOI a little too apprehensive about what they wanted to do. They were so scared of the engage tools available to XL that they kind of just never made a move. They never used anything outside of the defensive summoners from Larssen, from Comp, away from that Malphite. And now the Malphite ultimate is 3/4 of the way back. And XL, they're on the Baron because they know they can force this with the Soul now.
Abbedagge going to start it up. It was a far side alteration, one of those long-range blue trinkets that spotted them doing it, and XL will stop it. They got the Scuttle Crab as well, vitally important to gain control of that river. Still, 1,000 gold lead for KOI. And you mentioned this is kind of what KOI used to do a lot. It's often what we see out of KOI games, but I think KOI have lost the fangs that they had last year. You know, in the past, it would have been like, okay, we give up 2 Drakes, we get these gold leads, and then we just take over the game. We deny you entire jungle, we take all the outer towers, we get vision control. But KOI this year just haven't always looked like that team. Consistently inconsistent, I feel, is the phrase I will use for them.
You know, I feel like some of that comes back to the Malrang point as well. We had the graphic earlier that kind of illustrated, you know, Malrang individually isn't really getting as much as he used to, and a lot of the time Malrang's deficits would actually be translating into KOI leads. I think now that he's also not necessarily forcing as much with KOI as a unit, we're seeing situations like these where KOI, they give up a couple of dragons. They would have fought at the 3rd dragon maybe last year, but now they are at the Baron XL, and they are ready to try and force a fight of their own.
Comp no flash, Larssen no flash. Szygenda has one though, he goes in with the Mega Knight. In fact, he dashes out Does still have that Gnar ultimate and the option to go in, but you can see that bar ticking underneath his health. Baron down to 6,000. XL keeping it aggro, chipping away at it bit by bit. Malrang can get into the pit, has a flash of his own, has that cease and desist. You can see Patrik trying to dish out to the DPS, but it's so tricky for him to go forward. Instead, they dive onto Szygenda. The unstoppable force onto the backline. The Dwayne Johnson effect you gotta feel. Team it up with a Cyclone. And XL just shroud through KOI. Szygenda falls a triple for Xerxe. Only Malrang left alive. And Baron in XL's eyes.
It's a triple for the Monkey King, and his Bruiser crew is feeling pretty alright about it. XL, they'll get themselves the Baron. 4 kills, almost a clean ace. Malrang makes it out with his life, but you can just see KOI can't stand up to this much dive. They have a lot of good tools to peel away, but it's frankly not enough. Too much CC, too much burst damage, and with no flashes earlier from the Dragon, XL know this is what they're tracking, it's why they're here. And this all starts with the bubble, and again, just another massive ultimate as cast follow-up. It's too much to handle. By the time Larssen gets the Emperor's Divide out, he's practically already dead, and so is Comp. Excellently orchestrated by XL, and they just simply know with the Soul, they can consistently make this dance work. And now with the Baron, they'll be looking to take more structures off the map.
XL in the driver's seat now. Gold lead for the first time this game. 2.5k ahead. Ocean Soul as well for them, alongside the Baron for the next 2.5 minutes, and there's a lot of standing gold on the map for them to secure. They've only taken 2 towers so far. Top lane will be falling pretty shortish, you got a feel, and also the jungle of KOI being taken away. For XL, what a win this would be. Currently sitting near the bottom of the standings. We're tied, of course, for 7th before Heretics lost game 1. Now a win would put them up to that 3-win line. We think 3 wins is it should be enough, but there is a possibility if you get 3, you could still get knocked out on tiebreakers because of how close this split is. But 3 wins, at least in winter, was enough to make your way into groups. XL missing out on it just a month ago. How time flies for them as they look to take down KOI. KOI, a loss, of course, will sting, but they have 2 more opportunities this weekend against BDS and Vitality to try to get to that 4-win mark. Odo facing Malrang in the mid lane, a 4-level advantage as the unstoppable force coming out with the tidal wave just wise. Season's assist being used as well with the TP in. Malrang stops time for a second, knocked back with the explosive cast, the culling, the wild goat, still not enough! And that's every ultimate you want. XL will find their mark, find their man, and find the tower to boot. Szygenda dashes away from a body slam. As Abbedagge continues to look for more. Odo coming back in with the TP, no ultimate on him, but the Cyclone still a threat looming over KOI. And with a player down, they will sacrifice their mid lane inhibitor. 50 seconds left on the Baron. I think this will be all that XL get out of it, but how much have they gained? 3,000 gold off it, and with it, perhaps their 3rd win of spring.
They are still very, very reasonably ahead, but the Elder is spawning in around 60 seconds time. You seen a flip an Elder before? I feel like I have.
Many an Elder flip.
Now, on this replay, it's not really much to talk about. Malrang's just getting ganked by 5 members in the mid lane. Pops a stopwatch and the cast comes in really well timed, and last couple of shots come in. I think it's the cast that claims his life. Nope, it's Patrik. We have that culling.
That's a fitting name for a fitting end there for Malrang, the culling. In the end, taking the kill. Now 2 waves of super minions pushing in. Larssen, no TP on him. He's answering top right now. 40 seconds, as you say, on the Elder. Will be tricky for KOI to navigate this situation. Comp at 3 items, though he is on a Zeri. We have seen Zeri do many things in games like this. Knight's Vow as well for him to try and add some protection. Flash as well, barrier as well. He's got all the tools at his disposal, but so do XL.
It's just so scary, man, because look at the lack of vision generally. It's only really in the pit, and they've got that one far side alteration at the entrance, but other than that, KOI aren't working with a whole bunch, and Malrang.
Tidal wave goes wide, Bolt Breaker coming in with the Agripism, and the Cyclone is enough. Jungler is dead, and KOI perhaps alongside him. Xerxe can dash into the Elder. What do you do here, KOI? Szygenda looking for something onto limit, but even building up the Mega Gnar, Gnars him into the wall. Still gets the damage down. He does kill off limit. Is it enough? Odo snuck behind them. Unstoppable force
they don't know
available.
where Arbor is.
They know where Odo is as well. Abbedagge looking for a victorious return to the LEC, but KOI unwilling to give an inch right now, it seems. Comp diving onto Odoamne, but he's got no last whisper, so Odo's so tanky. Emperor's Divide being used. Decoy away from Xerxe. Still half HP on the Wukong. What do you do here if you're KOI? You continue to poke, you continue to prod, and Abbedagge continues to look for a flank position. He's going for it, Odo in, Larssen flashes away, unstoppable force, Larssen dashes away! Larssen survives, and Xerxe looking for something, but lightning crash coming out from Comp. XL unable to sink their dive. The Gnar into the wall, Szygenda doing it all here for KOI! Comp with a double, and XL, you had it in the palm of your hand. How can you rip defeat from the jaws of victory like this? Super minions on the Nexus Towers tidal wave being used as well. Abbedagge going back in for a little bit more. XL still looking for something, but Malrang is on the Elder.
You asked what could KOI do, and my answer was going to be they have to make a choice soon because the supers are pushing in. They do lose a Nexus Tower, but they win the fight. Szygenda finds a massive ultimate back-to-back. Picks off limit. Oh, hello.
It's only Abbedagge, though. Oh, no TP on him. Abbedagge is going to try and kill off Szygenda, but he flashes away. The Hyper helping out. The Gnar there is going to go Mega as well for a bit of help. Comp and Malrang will be able to secure the Elder. As you say, it's not enough from Abbedagge. Obviously, no empowered recalls for KOI, but Abbedagge invested the TP, thought he could get something. Malrang perhaps looking to cut off Abbedagge here. Instead, just cuts the wave. Just that singular minion really hates him.
What is it with junglers this game and not liking one minion?
Xerxe slapping, man.
Xerxe gave that one minion a headache earlier on, and now Malrang's killing that one creep. But, I mean, I called it. How many times have we seen a potential throw and Elder Dragon KOI find their way to this buff, and it's just going to play a bit of, you know, a delay time. I will say it eclipses so much of the Baron being up that honestly we could see KOI just force the Baron, and XL may have to respect it. I feel like they could burst out Comp and Larssen fast enough, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure Comp also still doesn't have flash from that last exchange. With that in mind, XL might still take the fight into the Elder. It's not impossible. All that has to happen is Odo has to find his mark, and as soon as that happens, Xerxe's there, Alba's there.
Comp does have the Lord Doms now, though, so a little bit of armor reduction, at least, on the Zeri. If we see an unstoppable force going short, but as you say, no flash on Larssen, no flash on Comp last time. Larssen was able to slide his way away from that ultimate. XL, do you take the fight? Looks like nope. Bot lane is their priority, just trying to get the push in. The inhibitors, as you can see on the bottom right corner of your screen, are respawning soon. 2 seconds on top, 39 on mid. And now with Baron buff, Elder only remains for a minute, so XL have been able to wait that one out successfully at least. But is the delay of the game enough for KOI to finally wrest control of it once again?
You would like to hope so, with both the Uber buffs for now. And you know, earlier I said, oftentimes scaling doesn't really matter because execution is pretty important, but it does make games pretty hard in the perspective of
Malrang.
XL, Malrang.
You can't dodge those, but you can get away with wild growth. The culling not hitting as well. Malrang escapes, and now Szygenda opens up. Patrik, where you gonna go, my dude? The Elder finds him. Szygenda on the chase, the tidal wave being used as well. You got any TPs? One for Szygenda, but no flanking wards, it seems. Limit able to get away. Elder out to timeout, 20 seconds on it, but the slow's gonna hit from Szygenda, and he is on the chase. Has had some great performances. This split has continued to stand up when it matters for KOI. Limit almost dies to the ultra shock laser. Will heal himself just up above the threshold, but 28 seconds on Patrik. And with KOI 5 members strong, Baron remaining for 2 minutes. Is it enough to close out the game?
They want the inhibitor at the bare minimum 15 seconds until Patrik comes back up. We'll see. KOI have been quite measured in a lot of their approaches, and it seems like that trend is going to continue here. They'll back away, take the reset, and not overextend. XL through everything and the kitchen sink at Malrang's head. And he just kind of walks out almost.
Yeah, Trymbi does a good job of shadowing Malrang as well. You know, the wild growth coming out.
Really good. Really, really good. And just that Q there at the very end just gets him out of the culling as Patrik repositioned himself to try and kill Malrang, and because of it, gives over his life to the Elder God. And now KOI sit very comfortably with all of these scaled champions now. When people can't get immediately one shot in the mid game, this is when things get difficult for XL. Constantly tracking flashes, and they're gonna be back up in less than 60 seconds time for Comp, for Larssen. These guys have been reacting to those engages with their flashes pretty consistently, and that's just gonna make things even more difficult as KOI looks like they're grouping up in the top side. 50 seconds left on this Baron. I think they want to crack open the base again and try and get this top inhib at the very least.
I've got at least one thing that makes you feel a little bit at home. That's an LPL gold grab. We've ever seen one. Jamada, up and down like a bouncy castle. And for XL, currently seems to be deflating. KOI pushing in. Baron remains for 30 seconds. They have the Sun Disc up as well to help out if any fight does really begin. But you have to feel KOI are just looking for another inhibitor out of this. The super minions in the mid lane, only about the halfway mark of that lane. Odo does have the ultimate available. He's going for Larssen. The rest of his team aren't quite there to follow up. Larssen with the Emperor's Divine. The culling not quite enough. Malrang on the front line. The Cyclone used as well, but Xerxe has already popped. And once again, he falls. Szygenda looking for more. The tower first, the target here for KOI. And it felt like Odo was just on a slightly different page to the rest of his team. If they layered the CC, perhaps it would have been enough to kill the Emperor himself. Szygenda backs, TP's back in. Abba looking for a little bit more, calm down to half HP. Malrang goes in with a cease and desist, but he hits it onto Odo. I think Patrik was his aim. Odo able to walk away from this one, still has the flash, the inhibitor will fall. And Xerxe still hold on to the game just about.
Just about. A couple of missteps there from Xerxe's perspective, not quite layering all of the ultimate on top of Larssen in time. And then there, Malrang doesn't quite get the target he wants with that cease and desist. Really strong ultimate from Odo. The only issue is really, I think in the middle of all of that, Abba actually body slammed the creep. That's what stopped him from gap closing. That's so unfortunate.
But KOI creeps are just so the MVP this game. Put him on the
They really are. And I mean, Xerxe just gets one shot. He's not as tanky as he is in the mid game anymore. He's sure he's got a Spirit Visage, but it's not the kind of resist that are going to keep you alive against comp. And unfortunately, doesn't able to follow through with Odo. And now KOI with 2 inhibitors, Elder spawning in 40 seconds. We're going to see the dance again.
Those inhibitors though, 4 minutes for the top lane, 2 minutes for the mid lane, and only 30 seconds on the Elder. Xerxe, the game was in the palm of their hands, and just a single mistake is all it takes. Obviously, there have been a few mistakes across the course of this game, but the decisive one around the last Elder fight you have to feel. Baron's still a minute and a half away, and it looks like Xerxe might just be seeding pressure around here. They're going to go through mid. Often we see teams do this, get the prio, chunk out someone. Szygenda their target. Szygenda no TP on him. Obviously can get some health back with the Mega. Wild Growth a possibility as well. Elder started. Unstoppable Force available for Odo. Look at where Larssen is though. Has that flank position. Xerxe overextend. Abbedagge pushed in top a little bit and now has worked his way back to join his team. Szygenda low. Patrik almost gets him. Szygenda no flash now. Malrang dashes out of the pits and Xerxe will look to keep this dragon aggro. Trymbi on the front line. No vision for Xerxe.
It's a 4v5.
And Odo find it again. Comp has flash, so does Larssen. 4v5 right now, as you say. Szygenda trying to build up that Gnar bar, but look at how low he is. Basically 500 HP on him. Malrang in the back of the pit. Xerxe chunked out just a little bit. Odo looking for a flank position. The tidal wave, the unstoppable force, but the Elder, they didn't see Malrang! And once again, it's on the back of a smite from their jungler. The KOI find the fight, they find the win, they find the TP. And Xerxe can only rue the day they let Malrang sit in the back of the pit. KOI advance to the win.
It doesn't matter if you don't do anything for about 25 minutes. All you have to do is hit your smite key on the Elder, and you will win your team the game. And I mean, KOI, they turned it out well. Xerxe almost had everything they wanted from this game, but KOI, they should be closing out here with the Elder. It's 2 versus 4. GA's pop, but does it matter? I don't think it does, Medic.
KOI claim their 4th win, and with it, a likely spot in the group stage.
Excellent stuff from KOI. A bit shaky, I will say, a bit shaky.
No,
but
it's clean League of Legends.
Yeah, clean League of Legends. But
you can see it on their faces as well.
You can a bit. But for them, 4th win, it feels like guaranteed you're making it into the top 8 now, right?
We will say, like, we're talking about like percentage of scenarios, which always assumes 50-50 odds, but 4 wins. Last split got you in definitively, and we think this split will be definitive as well. We'll keep you updated abreast of the situation throughout the weekend, of course.
And before we do continue to pick up KOI, I do just very briefly want to say, for Xerxe, good look. All things considered, for the entirety of the year, this is one of their stronger looking games. I think they looked very, very disciplined throughout a lot of this game. I just feel like those finishing touches, right, on the base was about it.
I think you said it right at the end of the game. It was like Xerxe almost. And that seems to have been 2023 for Xerxe. It's like Xerxe almost were able to pick up the win. Xerxe almost were able to make it into group stage. And I worry they face Astralis and BDS in their last 2 games. Is it going to be another Xerxe almost made it into the group stage?
Yeah, this is the issue, right? I mean, Astralis looked pretty good today. And if they're continuing with that form, then I'm not sure whether or not they're going to be able to close out those games.
BDS were tied first at the start of this weekend. Obviously, like, some people would say they should be 6-0. They had 2 games that they were in commanding positions of and then lost. So I think it's going to be a struggle for XL. We'll see if they can make it out. A few mistakes, a few errors here and there. Did see some great moments from them. I love the composition.
Yeah.
We worried a little bit whether it would come online completely, but it managed to. However, player of the game is a KOI player because they won.
Exactly.
You can vote at LEC on Twitter, Malrang, Larssen, Comp, or write-in vote that one creep. That blocked the body slam.
That one creep.
That one creep.
That one creep,
yeah. I think that one
Good
creep is
shout.
probably who I'd give it to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Arba actually closes the gap there and kills Larssen, that could be the turning point. It was right before Elder. Never know.
Could have been a game changer. We're going to hand it over to Frankie, who's standing by with Trymbi.
Thanks very much, guys. Trymbi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I just won a game, so yeah, there's nothing more I need, honestly.
That's fair enough. Did you have an interesting team talk after last week's match against Fnatic? Because the draft was quite an interesting one. You were playing Taric.
Oh yeah, let's better not talk about that one, sadly. I mean, yeah, that game draft-wise, as well as we played, it was not really something that we wished to do. And today as well, we had quite shaky performance, I would say. So it's nothing that I would like to be, it's hard to be happy about it because there's not good things, but at the end of the day, there are things to learn from that, and I'm sure that after the Fnatic game, we had our talks and we managed to actually get a lot out of it, I believe. So I think it's if the things like this have to happen in order for us to get better, then sure, I have to take that.
So tell me then about that game. Congratulations on the comeback, but why do you think it was such a difficult one for KOI?
I would say overall we didn't really try to punish the Malphite pick in a bit. I feel like he was just playing on his island on us. Honestly, I think he knew that we're gonna try to fight too much bot, so he just had a little bit of a free scaling, I would say. I think he also got a bit of a lead later, and yeah, overall I think we're quite. We didn't really do much outside of 2 heralds. I think we gave all of the Drakes so they could also way easier pressure us when scaling wise we were on a good go, I would say, to get to the proper items, but the game was quite accelerated. So yeah, we didn't play well as a unit in order to make sure that we can try to give our carries free time to actually scale. We were quite in a rush, and yeah, we successfully managed to win, but it was not an easy one, that's for sure.
BDS and Vitality are coming up for you this weekend. They are definitely not going to be easy matches. I know you've already mentioned you've got learnings from this match, but what's the one takeaway you think you need to apply to those next games?
I would like to play the game.
No, keep going. It's interesting because the teams that you're playing are playing each other next, but continue with that thought. What's that takeaway you need to apply?
No worries. I mean, the only take I have for those games is that I would like to play those games similar to how we played against G2 and was it G2 and SK, I think, that we actually played, I would say, really solid last. Yeah, exactly. So if we manage to play like this, I think those games will be, I wouldn't say simple, but they will be good for us for sure.
Trymbi, it's such a delight to see your face, even if it is on a big screen behind me. Good luck with your matches, and thank you for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
As I just gave you the spoiler, our next matchup is going to be KOI's weekend opponents, BDS and Vitality, but who is going to be taking the W? Find out after the break.
Step further forward, Patrik diving forward. Aquavism hits, but so does the Ultra Laser Flash for Flash. Comp though, Xerxe dives forward. He hit a minion, but he flashes, but he'll die for it.
Okay. Oh, Xerxe had me for a second there, Medic, I'm not gonna lie. That minion's got a headache. He doesn't feel too good.
Xerxe will be able to smite at him and they'll take it. Odo, you're going in, you're going in, you're going in, you're going in, he's going in! Oh, baby, give it to us, yes! Oh, observers, you absolute smurfs! To go forward instead, they dive onto Szygenda. The unstoppable force onto the backline. The Dwayne Johnson effect you gotta feel. Team it up with a Cyclone and Excel. Just shred through KOI. Odo looking for a flank position. the tidal wave, the unstoppable force, but the Elder, they didn't see Malrang!